So I need to talk to you about something else this morning, Cornerstone. I've preached 2 sermons. I might preach the third one next week. I'm not sure. On the tongue. The tongue. We talked about it last Sunday night. I don't know if you remember it or not. I felt like God really helped some people. Now listen, some problems just aren't worth talking about. Man, if every little thing at your house makes you want to have, a session of Congress, you just need to grow up. Some things, best thing to do, just overlook it. Just not worth talking about. There's no doubt about that. But some problems cannot be ignored. When it's hurting the body and hindering the work of God, it has to be discussed. When it's hurting the body and hindering the work of God, it has to be discussed. And sadly, please hear this, Cornerstone, as is seen in verse 5 in Nehemiah chapter 5. Listen, when adults are at odds with other adults, they don't even stop to consider how it affects the innocent children. Isn't it sad? You got a rift with somebody else in the local church, but you run your mouth to your wife and the other guy runs his mouth to his wife, or vice versa, and the children pick up on all that. People at odds with each other don't realize how much it hurts their children and their grandchildren. But let's not lose sight of the point. Nehemiah was unaware. I need to help you, church. Sometimes you just have to talk to leadership. I've already made it clear there's some things I don't want to hear about, don't need to talk about. You don't need to discuss it with anybody. But sometimes, it really does bother me when somebody comes to me and says, I feel like I need to talk to you, but I don't want to be a snitch. Well, then just grow up. Little kids snitch. Adults are concerned. And when you come and talk to your pastor or you go talk to somebody, you know your motive. That's right. And if your motive is you want to share information to make somebody look bad, don't even come to see me. But if you're coming because you're burdened about the way it's affecting other people, or it's affecting the church, or it's affecting your family, or it's affecting your testimony, and you feel like something has to be done, and you really do care about the guilty party, then sometimes, I want to say it again, sometimes it has to be discussed. Nehemiah's got to know before he can do anything about it. All that is we're taking serious the work of God. Yeah, that's right. And when it's affecting the work of God, we have to talk about it. And again, the key is you know your motive. In verse 5, they say something that is huge. It says, neither is it in our power. Y'all see that? This problem's gotten out of hand. I was going to call Brother Brad this morning and let him know I was going to use him for an illustration. I really was. I'd rather I'd got a hold of him, but I didn't. Brother Brad, how old were you when you were part-time here, staff? 20. Now, in some ways when he came here, Brother Brad was 20 going on 30. And in some ways, he'll tell you this, he was 20 going on 15. He'll tell you that. We've talked about it. And so his first few years or year, however long it might have been, every now and then, it was pretty rare. By the way, Brother Brad's one of the most exceptional men I know. In a lot of wonderful ways. And I mean that with all my heart. He is a huge asset to me personally. I could say a lot more, but that's not the point. The point is this. He was here, he was young, and every now and then somebody would see something in him that bothered them. And they'd come see me. Well, if I thought it had merit, which, by the way, if I didn't think it had merit, that's as far as it went. But if I thought there was some merit to it, and maybe more than one person had said it, and maybe it was something I'd already seen, Brother Brad would come in my office, and I'd say, Brother Brad, we need to talk, and I would tell him what's on my mind, and of course his response is, well, then why won't they come to me? Isn't that the way we all feel? Well, can we just be more realistic than that? There's probably reasons. Number one, they might not be sure that they're seeing it right. They might be coming to me saying something that they think is a problem with Brother Brad, but they may be coming to me because they want to make sure that they're right about it. Maybe I'm overanalyzing this. Maybe I'm seeing it in the wrong light, Brother Ron, but it's just something that's been on my mind for a month, and I feel like I've got to talk about it. And I love Brother Brad, so I want to ask you to think about this. So maybe one of the reasons they might come to me instead of him is they're not even 100% sure that they're right, but maybe they think he would receive correction from me better than he'd receive it from them. I can assure you that I was thankful when some men got involved in my children's lives and helped them with things I couldn't help them with. People receive things sometimes, let's say, from an older man or a pastor before they might receive it from a peer. That's just reality. You don't have to like it. I don't have to like it. It's just reality. Sometimes they'll receive something from a pastor or somebody else better than they will from a sibling, a sister, or a brother. Right? I mean, let's just be realistic about it. And maybe there's a third reason that they would have come to me instead of going to Brother Brad. They just hate confrontation altogether. Even though they knew it needed addressing, some people just despise, hate, loathe confrontation. By the way, your pastor doesn't enjoy it either. It just comes with the territory. I don't like confrontation, but my responsibility trumps what I like and don't like. So what I'm saying to you is there's a problem and they feel like it's out of our power. There's nothing we can do about it. And they're going to get Nehemiah involved. So we have their report, and then we have his reaction. Verse 6, his reaction. And I was very angry. I'm just going to stop right there for a minute. There is a time for anger. Now I know there are people that say all anger is sin. Those people don't believe the Bible. Because Jesus got angry and He never sinned. And Ephesians says, be ye angry and sin not. It is possible, at least possible, not likely for most, it is possible to be angry and not sin. Now think about this, church. Nehemiah has dealt with idleness. He's dealt with passivity. He has dealt with mocking from outsiders. He's dealt with a grueling long journey just to get down to Jerusalem. He has dealt with a very difficult work, having to stack block all day long, gather the rocks and stack it and be supervisor at the same time. He has dealt with threats, but for the first time we're told he's angry. I'd have got angry before this. But now the brethren are attacking the brethren. And he's angry. He's upset due to the way God's people are acting towards God's people. The first time you find him angry is because of the way God's people are talking about God's people. The way God's people are treating God's people. Does everybody get the picture? Now, I want to get personal here for a moment on purpose. Do you want a pastor that never gets angry? Now, I want you to stop and think about this question. Do you want to... People will hear me preach, or they'll hear me get maybe intense, and, well, he was angry. What you ought to say is, boy, I'm glad my preacher can get angry. Now, if you want one that doesn't get angry, start looking. I'll help you. But you ain't going to find it here. There are things that anger your pastor, and he feels good about it. And he goes home and talks to his angry God and says, man, I'm pretty put out. And God says, me too. And here's what we're going to do. There's a time to get angry. And if there's anything that angers your pastor, it's when God's people hurt God's people and don't care. And don't even care how the innocent children get affected. You got a pastor that's going to get angry. We're looking at Nehemiah's reaction. Call it righteous indignation if you want to. Doesn't matter to me. But I think one of the greatest lessons, we're looking at his reaction, and I think one of the greatest lessons in all the Bible, and if you would get this lesson today, it would be well worth you coming to church this morning. If this is all you get, it's in verse 7 where he says, then I consulted with myself. You see, he gets angry, then he goes and confronts, but between getting angry and the confrontation, he has a consultation with himself. Men, Daddies, husbands, when you get angry, before you go talk to somebody about what you're angry about, before you lash out, before you have that knee-jerk reaction, if you'd have a consultation with yourself, you might save yourself a lot of trouble. Nehemiah's angry and he says, I consulted with myself. That's a great thing to do, especially when you're angry. So I thought, what does that word consulted mean? So I looked it up. It says to ponder. Then it said, consider carefully within oneself. Consider carefully within oneself. And then the next definition, this blew my mind. It said to make a king. I thought, what's that got to do with any of this? It literally said ponder, consider carefully, to make king. And I thought, I get it. To rule yourself. To have rule over your spirit. You can call it anger management, self-control. We could spend a lot of time this morning on the unbelievably terrible dangers and the traumatic damage of anger. I deal with a lot of people, and there's so many wives over the years who I've watched their spirit go from soaring to oppression because of an angry husband. If this were a message on anger, I'd camp out right there. I've seen children almost cringe because Daddy walked in. The unbelievable dangers and damage of anger. But that's really not the message this morning. It's about Nehemiah's reaction, who was not impulsive. It's not a knee-jerk reaction. He says to self, sit down. We're going to talk. Are you listening to me, self? I got something to say to you. And I'm willing to listen to whatever you say, self. But we're going to have ourselves a meeting of the mind. Psalm 4, verse 4 says, commune with your own heart upon your bed, be still. Commune with your own heart. When's the last time you did that? So, in his discussion with self, I tried to ask myself, what did Nehemiah talk about with Nehemiah? It's a good question, isn't it? He had a consultation. I suppose he might have said, am I right to be angry? I'm angry, but do I have a right to be angry? Am I upset because people are hurting or because they're making me look bad as the governor? You know, if it doesn't upset you at your house, but it upsets you in public, we got a problem. You let it go on at the house, but then they embarrass you in public, now you get angry. That's the wrong time. So maybe he's asking the question, am I upset because people are truly being hurt, or it's making me look bad as the governor? Because he is the governor in verse 14. He might say, am I concerned, or am I just upset because nobody told me about it? Sometimes we just get angry because they should have come to me sooner. We don't even care that people are hurting. We're just mad because we weren't consulted. Everybody understand this?